Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiong. China's birth rate is historically low. The number of birth rates of last year saw a 15% decline compared with the previous year. As if it is not bad enough, China has recorded its lowest marriage rate in nearly 2 decades. According to figures released last February by China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, in 2020, only some 8.1 million couples registered for marriages, a 12% drop from the previous year. It was the lowest since 2003 and only accounted for 60% of those in 2013, when such registrations saw a peak. The declining marriage rate suggests changing attitudes toward matrimony among young Chinese who are increasingly favoring a no-string-attached, independent lifestyle. According to a March survey by recruiting platform Zhaopin.com, 64% of the female respondents said marriage was not a compulsory choice and they didn't plan to get hitched anytime soon. However, government-led research in Shanghai last year showed that men had a stronger desire to get married than women. In the meantime, divorce surged. The conventional wisdom dictates that Chinese women tend to endure unhappy marriages due to societal expectations and economic pressures. However, in a 2019 speech, Zhou Cheng, president of the Supreme People's Court, revealed that over 70% of divorces in China are initiated by women. He also pointed out that, contrary to the popular belief that most couples start to unravel at the 7-year mark, Chinese marriages are inclined to fall apart as soon as 3 years after the wedding. The pandemic last year added fuel to divorce wave. Bloomberg News reported that divorce rates had jumped as the quarantines caused unprecedented levels of interpersonal strife that was more than many marriages could withstand. Arguments over money, children, household duties, and suspicions of infidelity festered in many homes, driving many couples apart. One Shanghai divorce lawyer said cases started climbing shortly after lockdowns ended. Forced to spend weeks trapped together, sometimes along with extended family, was just too much to bear for many couples. A more disturbing trend that's emerging, though, is that alongside increase in divorce filings following quarantine, domestic violence reports went way up during quarantine too. A Shanghai-based publication reported 162 reports of domestic violence in one small county in the month of February 2020. In February of the year before, that same county had only 47 domestic violence reports. If distance makes the couple's heart grow fonder, the opposite is true of spending months locked together in close quarters amid a scary pandemic situation. Another unique aspect of divorce in China is that divorce booms after Gaokao, the National Higher Education Entrance Examinations. Gaokao is such an important moment for families that many parents postpone their divorce plans for the sake of their children's exam. Scoring high grades for the exam can give high school students access to a better colleges, which enhances their chances of obtaining a good job after graduation. Because the exam results are potentially life-changing, the period leading up to the Gaokao is generally a high stressful time for students and their parents. Parents do not want to add to the stress by divorcing before this important exam. Another reason is that many parents feel that a large part of their duty as parents is completed after their children's exam. It is the end of high school and a start of their child's adult life. The post-exam divorce boom is so common that there is a term for the phenomenon. Those parents who get divorced after the Gaokao are called the Gaokao divorce tribe. The Wikipedia-like Baidu page explaining the phenomenon describes it as a growing trend for Chinese parents to get divorced in the post-exam period from late June to September. China's divorce rate has been increasing since 2003. In 2019, more than 4 million couples decided to end their marriages. These numbers are interpreted as a sign of gradually improving gender equality. Women are becoming more financially independent, and the social views on marriage have changed as China became more and more economically developed in the last 2 decades. To deter couples from separating, China enacted a controversial 30-day cool-off period this year, meaning couples will not be granted a divorce if one of them changes their mind during this period. Since the law went into effect on January 1st, there has been a 60% drop in divorces in the central city of Wuhan. The CCP's media mouthpiece People's Daily claims that the clause requiring a 30-day cooling-off period is a way to deter careless divorces and strengthen family stability. The new law is supposed to help couples think carefully about marriage and establish family virtues and good social orders. These views are also echoed by the state news agency Xinhua, which called the new proposals in the civil code the legal guarantee of securing a harmonious family and society. Similar to China's birth planning policies, the new laws are another way of undermining the personal freedom of Chinese citizens. From limiting citizens' freedom to decide the number of children that their families intend to have to making it harder for citizens to file for divorce. The Chinese government has been adapting these changes not in the interests of citizens, but in the interests of the regime. Demographic factors such as the low birth rate and the aging population will make it harder for China to maintain its economic development through competitive labor costs in manufacturing. China sees a more hostile international community because of its past and the current practices in Xinjiang, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. The country's increasingly repressive governing policies are also making it more difficult to seek help to solve its challenges in achieving high economic growth. These challenges are pushing China to re-examine its family policies and explore the possibility of engineering its population into productive labor resources to fit the regime's needs. With a need to push for higher birth rates to combat aging population problems, the Chinese regime started to abandon its once progressive ideas of promoting gender equality to increase the labor force participation rate. Instead, the authorities have started to adopt more conservative-leaning values such as family unity and a traditional virtue, encouraging women to get married and raise children. The Chinese authorities see citizens more as a potential laborers rather than citizens with freedom and basic rights. Despite facing criticisms and opposition, China showed no hesitation in adopting changes in the interests of the regime's fight against the low birth rates, even at the expense of personal freedom and equalities. From "women hold up half of the sky" to strong family values for a harmonious society, the Chinese Communist Party has shifted its family and social policy positions from one of the most progressive governments in the world, at least rhetorically, to a rapidly regressing conservative government. Despite moving from one end of the political spectrum to the other end of its 30-plus year rule, one thing about the Chinese Communist Party remains unchanged. This regime is willing to manipulate its citizens in every way to achieve its political agenda and strategic goals, with little regard for individual rights and equality. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.